And make sure it's on channel 2. There you go. Now, last but not least, like I said, I'm only using the cyclics on this. I'm not using the rudder. This one goes to channel 1. That is your top left servo, which is this one. And that's how it worked out for me. Your servos might be reversed or whatever, but if your layout is similar to mine, it's the top left servo is number 1, white signal wire towards the number on the Flymentor. Let's plug it in. Alright. Now, pretty much we're all set with wires. The next step would be to disconnect the Esc wires, which we could do right now. You want to disconnect at least 2 of them so you don't get hurt. The rotor won't spin up and chop you in the arm or hit you in the head. So you want to at least take off 2 of the Esc wires. If you have to mark down which one goes where, like mine is black and blue, yellow and red, that I have to put back together, but it's not too hard to figure it back out again. But if you want to mark it down, this is the time to do it. So now that's disconnected, that's safe. Turn it back around to the Flymentor side, and our next step's going to be I'm going to try to do a little wire tying, kind of keep everything in place for right now. Okay, we did some wire tying, and what I talked about earlier was the next thing I want to do before we get into any programming or anything is I cut a couple of pieces of Velcro scraps I had, but it's the sticky stuff I really want to use. But for the CCD, what I'm going to do is stick to the side of it and to the edge just to keep this CCD more stable. So it's just to add a little added protection. So I took it and gave it a little fold, and we want to run it on the side, never on the eye, and then it's folded to fit the bottom of the heli. And we'll flip it over. Like I said, it's just for a little added protection, that the CCD doesn't move in flight, because then it'll get confused, because that's what kind of keeps its position. It's a positioning sensor. So this is just to ensure that, you know, you can use wire ties or something that'll hold her in place. It's kind of hard the way the 450 is designed. It's not really a flat base. I guess you could make yourself a flat base before you adhered or double face tape the CCD, but there it is, and that's what I wanted to add, was just a couple of L-shaped pieces of Velcro to hold it. You know, she's still going to vibrate a little bit, but see, now it's a lot more rigid. But I've seen people make a little platform and then stick this to it. Alright, and like I said, ESC disconnected, at least 2 wires. Wire tie everything out of the way. It's not near any moving parts. Same over here. Make sure you're not putting a lot of tension on your gyros. If these are tight, they cause the gyro, even the one we're using for the Flymentor, the 3-axis one. Don't have the wires pulling on it, because it doesn't work properly. It has to have a little freedom. Alright, that's when you're wire tying. Just make sure everything's stuck. And next step is powering it up and going over all the programming codes. Okay guys, in this step we're going to plug the Flymentor in and do the programming. What I'm going to do first, though, to make it easier, let's take the wings off, the blades I should say. Make it a lot easier to watch the swash plate. It's kind of hard to watch the swash moving around with the weight of the blade, so we'll take them off for now. Alright, the next thing I want to talk about before we plug this in again, can't emphasize enough, disconnect your ESC at least 2 wires, minimum. If you want to disconnect all 3, that's fine, but at least 2 of them. That'll stop the motor from coming on all by itself and hurting you or someone else. Let's go back to the Flymentor. Alright, what we need for this is, like I said, I'm going to use the PPC KDS Flymentor program card. I'm not going to use the Heliball software. I'm trying to simplify this. And again, we need to get the turnigny radio. I've already turned it on. Let me get the blades out of the way. Alright, so the radio's on. We don't really need to initialize the gyro, the GP750 right now, but let's plug her in and we'll let the Flymentor initialize. Alright, she's blinking green, and as you can see right off the bat, we have a problem with the servos. So we want to plug in the program card. If you notice, there's a little arrow and the yellow wire would face up, and there's a plug right on the right hand side of it to plug in. Now you'll notice that the Flymentor program card is initialized. Alright, now the first thing we need to do is mounting. If you notice, if you use the up down keys, you can scroll through the functions. Once you're on the function, hit OK. Orientation, that is the way you put the CCD in the gyro. There's different ways of putting it, but we put it towards the front, so that's okay. Which way do your blades rotate? Remember that from the beginning before you start this. Ours do not rotate to the left, they rotate to the right, so we want to hit OK and hit the up down keys till it hits right and hit OK. Alright, on your swash, you're a 3 servo 120. If I change it real quick, you'll see it's 1 servo normal, 4 servos 90, 3 servos 140 and 3 servos 120. On this Trex clone, it's a 120 degree swash, and there's 3 servos running the cyclic. Hit OK. Now we want to escape from this program. Go to Servo Reverse. That would be the next thing we need to do. And what the Servo Reverse is, let me put this down. When we start moving the heli, if they're not moving correctly, which we can already see that, I mean, the servos aren't even in the right position. So we need some correction there. So that's the first point. The number 2 Servo Reverse is for the Flymentor's reaction, you know, to the helicopter and the movements. That's what that one's for, because they also have stick reverse, which would be for the radio. Alright, so on the Servo Reverse, we know we need to get in here, so we'll hit OK. The Servo 1 says normal. I think that one's okay. Servo 2 is normal, but I think that needs to be reversed. And hit OK. Now the next one is normal. Servo 3, that's okay. And the tail servo, and Servo Reverse seems okay on the tail servo. Alright, so let's escape. Everything seems to be fine now. We'll escape out. Now the next part of the programming is your Servo Neutral. That's where you would get your servos at 90 to the swash, but we're going to skip that and go to the stick position, because the stick position is all wrong right now. If you notice, I'm going to back up here a little bit. I'm going up on the cyclic, it goes down, and vice versa. If I tilt forward, I'm going backwards. Move this over a little bit. If I'm pushing up on the elevator, see, so all the stick movements are not correct. Cyclic up, it goes the wrong way. So before we do any neutraling, I'm going to skip number 3. I'm going to go on to number 4. I want to get the stick reverse correct. Alright. Alright, like I said, the next thing is the stick reverse. That is what controls your radio. Okay, I noticed the aileron, I think, is fine at normal. The elevator is reversed, so I'm going to hit OK, change it, hit OK again. That's going to change it to normal. Also, I think the pitch was reversed, which is the whole cyclic movement of the swash. So I'm going to change, hit OK, put that to normal, OK. And as for the rudder, I'm using my GP Align 750, so we're going to leave that at normal. Okay, and let's escape out of that. Now you can go back up to number 3. I don't know why they do that, because it was really hard to neutral the sticks when the sticks were in the wrong position. They should have 4 in front of 3, but we'll go back to 3 now. And what we're going to do